So we've already told you about how the Republicans all of a sudden are saying, oh yeah, Occupy Wall Street and that movement, I'm totally can relate to it, and Obama screwed the 99%. Oh, come on, give me a break, right? Like the Republicans are on the side of the non-bankers. It's nonsense, right? But at the same time, here come the Democrats. So President Obama is saying, oh yeah, Wall Street, what name so? It's, oh no, I'm against those guys, yeah. In fact, Washington Post has a story out about how they're going to run the whole campaign against Wall Street. Now, I have a couple of things to say about that. First, of course, you should have been doing that all along, but you shouldn't have been doing it just in rhetoric. You should have been doing it in reality. You should have said, here's how we're going to check your ass, okay? We're going to make sure we split out the investment banks from the commercial side. We're going to make sure that you're not leveraged to the hilt so that you're all going to collapse at some point. I mean, you know, I've gone over it a million times, all the things he could have done and didn't do. But now that the campaign is on, what did I tell you? I told you all of a sudden he was going to be Mr. Progressive, right? So here comes Mr. Progressive. And why did they realize all of a sudden that they should even start talking about this in the press? Why has it gotten this deep? Because of a Washington Post ABC News poll. Now, first of all, they saw the protests all across the country. That made a huge difference. Now the poll, that's the second big difference. What does it say? 68% of independents have an unfavorable impression of the big financial institutions. 68% of independents. Remember, the Obama people are obsessed with independence. Who cares about the left? Who cares? We're not going to do anything for them. But independents, we love them. They're what decide elections. Well, it turns out they don't like the big banks. I don't know if like a light bulb went over their head. They're like, really? We thought they loved Wall Street. Huh, golly gee willikers. Or there's a more harsh reality to this. But one more thing about the poll. 60% of Republicans said they have an unfavorable impression of the big financial institutions. So even the Republican voters aren't in favor of Wall Street. And again, it's not to shut down the banks, it's to make sure that they're tightly regulated so they don't destroy our entire economy, right? So now why is the Obama people doing this? Are they stupid? Did they not realize how much people were angry with Wall Street before? Well, frankly, that is a possibility. But I think much more likely is they said, hey, you know what? We're going to get the best of both worlds. For 3 years, we're not going to regulate them. We're going to do cosmetic differences and hope no one notices it and call it historic financial reform, right? That way we get all the banker money in donations. And right now, Obama's already raised over $100 million. Now, it's not all from the banks by a long shot, but a lot of it is. And $65 million to the DNC already, right? So they get all that money in, then when they need the votes, they need both. They need the money and the votes. They get the money, then they turn around to the voters and go, oh yeah, well, I never liked those guys in the first place. Yeah, I'm totally on your side. Where are we occupying? Let's go, right? So here are some of the quotes. David Plouffe, his top strategist, says, we intend to make it one of the central elements of the campaign next year. One of the main elements of the contrast will be that the president passed Wall Street reform and our opponent and the other party want to repeal it. Now that's half true. The Republicans totally want to repeal it. They don't want any checks on Wall Street. But the other half about how we did historic reform is a joke. They still can do any leverage that they like. We don't know what their derivatives are at all. They're not open in public. They're not regulated at all. So it's an attempt to half deceive you. The other guys are worse. Unfortunately, this administration hasn't been that great. And so here comes Van Jones to regulate. And remember, Van Jones used to be inside the White House and is very reluctant to criticize the Obama administration. But even he says, the fact that Obama has been so close to Wall Street makes this tough going for him. Absolutely true. And now, one of the things that Obama has decided to focus on, and a lot of the politicians have, is the Bank of America $5 debit card fee. And because they think, oh, you know what? This is the real problem. But wait a minute. Look, I hate that fee, right? And I know it bothers a lot of people, but that isn't the real problem. We didn't crash the economy in 2008 because of a debit card fee. That debit card fee didn't even exist, right? Why are they focusing on that? One, they think it's populist. So I'm against that $5 that you and your aunt are being charged. And number two, it leads you away from the real problem. Yeah, worry about the debit card fee and we can get that solved for you. Don't worry about the derivatives. But the derivatives are the 98% of the problem. That's why the politicians, including Obama, focus on the wrong side of it. And he says, quote, that's exactly the sort of stuff that folks are frustrated by. Yeah, they might be a little frustrated by that, but we're much more frustrated by the economic collapse that happened in 2008 that cost how many million jobs? 11 million jobs? That was much more frustrating, and it had nothing to do with debit card fees. It had everything to do with out of control, unregulated derivatives.